The wet mop made a soft sound as it touched the floor and glided smoothly over the shiny corridor. It was early morning in the office, and the dim lights created long shadows, making the scene peaceful and almost dreamlike. Lily, with her hair tied back neatly, wore a crisp blue uniform as she diligently cleaned the floors. She moved to the rhythm of her music, lost in her own world. Lily had started work at 5 a.m., feeling full of energy and ready to be productive. By now, she had already finished dusting the tables in the offices, carefully wiping away every speck of dust from their shiny surfaces. Finishing early gave Lily a sense of relief. It meant she could avoid the busy crowds later in the day and, most importantly, not feel uncomfortable under the lingering stares of the office workers. As Lily moved the mop across the shiny floor, she noticed a sudden glimmer behind her. Startled, she took off her earphones and turned around, scanning the dim corridor. "Good morning, kiddo," a voice called out, shattering the silence. Lily relaxed when she saw Mr. Holland, the elderly security guard, standing nearby with his usual serious look. "You're always here so early, Lily. Do you ever sleep?" Mr. Holland asked with a hint of concern in his deep voice. Lily smiled warmly and stopped mopping. She wiped sweat off her forehead and replied, "Good morning, Mr. Holland. I do get enough sleep. I just like to finish my work before everyone else arrives. It's quieter and easier to concentrate. I hope I didn't disturb you, sir." "I'm sorry if I did." Mr. Holland shook his head slightly, a faint smile crossing his weathered face. "No need to apologize, Lily. Sleep doesn't come easily with age. You'll understand one day." His hands remained casually tucked in his pockets as he watched Lily work with meticulous care. The rhythmic swish of the mop filled the otherwise quiet hallway. "You remind me a lot of my Susan. She was an early riser too. By the time I got out of bed, breakfast was ready and the whole house was spotless," Mr. Holland recalled, his voice trailing off as he drifted into memories. Lily paused her mopping, leaning on the mop handle as she turned to face Mr. Holland, her expression softened with empathy. She had heard about Susan and knew how much Mr. Holland missed his wife. It had been a tough year for him since Susan passed away from a severe case of pneumonia. They had shared more than 45 years together, a lifetime of cherished memories and love. Lily gave a playful smile. "Looks like someone missed breakfast today. Let me finish up here, and then we can share those tuna sandwiches I brought." At the mention of tuna sandwiches, Mr. Holland's eyes brightened. He hadn't eaten since last night. His appetite often faded in the quiet of his home. He knew Lily always had something tasty with her. Mr. Holland admired her for many reasons, especially her thoughtful nature. Soon, they sat together on the freshly mopped floor, warming their hands on cups of tea from Lily's thermos. As they savored the sandwiches, Mr. Holland started sharing one of his marine stories. Lily loved hearing his tales. They were captivating with lessons about life, and she knew they brought him comfort, easing the loneliness he often felt. As for Mr. Holland, sharing these stories brought him a sense of worth and vitality. It was actually one of these very stories that had initially attracted Lily to this job. She had been working at this medium-sized IT company for 3 months now, taking pride in her role as a cleaner and approaching it with dedication. Lily's path to this job had been shaped by a poignant past. She had grown up in a small town and faced a devastating tragedy at the age of 14. In a terrible car accident, Lily lost both her parents. Had a younger sister, Julia. After the accident, Lily's younger sister, Julia, who was only 4 years old, miraculously survived with the dedicated efforts of doctors. However, the joy of Julia's survival was overshadowed by the news that she would be wheelchair-bound for life due to severe spinal injuries from the crash. Lily was left devastated, grieving the loss of both parents and faced with the daunting task of caring for her little sister. Their grandmother, Grace, stepped in to help, providing a safe haven for the 2 grieving girls. At just 14 years old, Lily quickly adapted to the role of caregiver for Julia. She took on the responsibilities of both sister and mother, learning childcare skills and handling the challenges with a maturity beyond her years. Meanwhile, Grace worked tirelessly to support her granddaughters. Recognizing the need to contribute at home, Lily made the difficult decision to leave school so she could fully focus on Julia's care. Despite the hardships, Lily found deep fulfillment in her role with Julia, and their bond grew stronger each day. When Grace eventually retired, she insisted that Lily return to school to continue her education, assuring her that she would take over caring for Julia. Lily embraced her studies wholeheartedly, excelling as a student. She understood the future responsibility of caring for Julia and her grandmother and approached her education with determination and purpose. While her classmates eagerly prepared for prom and graduation festivities, Lily delved into a different world. She immersed herself in free online courses, eager to expand her knowledge and skills. As graduation day approached, excitement buzzed among her peers. They talked about prom dresses and future college plans, spending weekends shopping for outfits and exploring university websites. For Lily, these luxuries were beyond reach. Her family's financial situation made college and even a graduation dress impossible. More importantly, she couldn't fathom leaving her grandmother and Julia without her care. Her path was clear. She needed to find a job right after graduation. Getting her first job proved tough for Lily because she lacked specific skills and didn't have many connections. Eventually, she secured a position at a retail store's warehouse. The work was physically demanding, involving stacking packages on shelves. Despite the challenges, the pay was enough to cover their household expenses. What Lily valued most was the job's schedule, starting at 9:00 a.m. and often ending by 3:00 p.m. This allowed her to return home early to help her grandmother with cooking and other chores. On less busy days at the warehouse, Lily cherished the extra time she could spend with Julia. She used these moments to support her sister's education and personal development. After work, Lily often stopped by the local library, her backpack full of a variety of books, children's stories, science books, and math workbooks. Back home, in their cozy living room filled with warmth, Lily and Julia settled down. Lily would read aloud with enthusiasm, bringing characters to life in tales of adventure and magic. Julia, wide-eyed with wonder, listened closely, her imagination sparked by stories of distant lands. But it wasn't just storytelling. Lily also helped Julia with exercises from the workbooks, explaining concepts in ways that made them clear and enjoyable. She invented games and quizzes to make learning fun for Julia, who, despite her physical challenges, showed a strong interest and sharp mind. These sessions were more than educational, they strengthened the sisters' unbreakable bond. For Lily, these moments were precious opportunities to give Julia the childhood experiences she deserved. For Julia, there were times of joy and discovery, glimpses of a broader world seen through the loving eyes of her sister. Lily couldn't help but feel a twinge of envy and self-consciousness as she listened to her friends talk about their college lives. They shared stories of new friendships, classes, and the excitement of campus. Hearing them, she often felt a bit ashamed, aware of how different her path was compared to theirs. While they were enjoying the college experience, Lily was balancing work and caring for her family, feeling like her life was on a completely different track. Julia, now 12 years old and quite adept with technology, noticed her sister's subdued mood one day. Concerned, Julia asked what was bothering her. Lily opened up to her sister, sharing her worries about being stuck in physically demanding jobs indefinitely. She yearned for something more. A career that wasn't just a job, but a profession she could truly own and take pride in. From that moment on, Lily's life took a new turn. Julia, inspired to help her sister, introduced her to a website that taught programming in a unique way, through interactive games. "It's like learning while playing," Julia explained with excitement. The website was designed to make programming accessible and enjoyable, a concept that immediately caught Lily's interest. Curious, Lily sat down at the computer and started playing the programming game. The challenges, cleverly disguised as games, captivated her. It was a perfect blend of learning and entertainment, and soon Lily was completely absorbed. From then on, Lily's free time changed significantly. She spent hours in front of the computer, deeply focused on solving the programming tasks presented by the game. Her dedication paid off quickly. Within a few months, she had mastered the basics of programming. This newfound skill and passion led her to discover a free online course, which she eagerly enrolled in to deepen her knowledge. For the next 2 years, Lily maintained a consistent routine. She worked hard at the warehouse, a physically demanding job that provided stability for her family. Each evening after work, she swiftly switched gears, cooking, taking care of household chores, and then diving into her programming studies. It was a challenging schedule, but Lily tackled it with unwavering determination. The warehouse where Lily worked saw an increase in business, leading to heavier lifting duties. One day, while reaching for a high shelf, Lily felt a sudden, intense pain in her back. She dropped the box she was holding, clutching her spine in agony. Concerned, she underwent an MRI, which revealed troubling news. A cracked disc in her spine, likely from the strain of lifting heavy objects. Doctors advised her to avoid lifting anything heavier than 22 olds for the next few years to prevent further injury. This diagnosis was a major setback for Lily. It not only affected her ability to work at the warehouse, but also posed new challenges in her daily life. She now faced the reality of her physical limitations, a situation that unexpectedly mirrored her sister's. Lily found herself at a crossroads. With jobs involving heavy lifting now off-limits, opportunities for house cleaning in her small town were limited. On the other hand, Lily had developed strong programming skills. She knew that in the nearest city, about an 8-hour drive away, there could be opportunities for her in the tech industry. However, the idea of leaving her sister and grandmother behind was heartbreaking. Lily was torn, grappling with an internal struggle, uncertain which path to choose. Grace, always perceptive, noticed Lily's dilemma. One evening, after Lily returned from a thoughtful walk, she walked into a heartwarming scene. Grace and Julia had set the dinner table beautifully, adorned with fresh fruits and a homemade meal that filled the room with delightful aromas. They greeted Lily with warm smiles, inviting her to join them. As they sat down to eat, Grace broke the silence. "Lily, I want you to know how much I love you," she began, her voice filled with emotion. "I've seen you grow into an extraordinary young woman. You've taken on more than anyone your age should ever have to." Julia, listening intently, moved her wheelchair closer to Lily and hugged her gently. "I love you, Lily," she said softly. "You've worked so hard to care for us, and I deeply respect and appreciate everything you've done." This moment had been orchestrated by Grace and Julia with care. They understood Lily's inner struggle and aimed to surround her with their love and encouragement, hoping it would empower her to make the best decision for her future. Lily sat at the dinner table, a mix of confusion and surprise evident on her face. "Why all this tonight?" she asked, glancing between Grace and Julia. Taking a deep breath, Grace gently revealed their decision. "Lily, we've been discussing this, and we want to support your journey. It's time for you to go to the city and pursue your future," she said sincerely. "Don't worry about us, we'll manage." Lily was deeply moved by Grace's words. Tears filled her eyes as the weight of their support and sacrifice sank in. "But I can't just leave you too," she murmured, her voice trembling with emotion. Julia, with a reassuring smile, chimed in, "You don't have to shoulder this alone. We'll be fine. You need to think about your future too." That night, Lily made a solemn pledge. She promised to find a job in the city and do everything possible to eventually bring Grace and Julia to join her. The next morning, as Lily rolled her suitcase to the door, she saw Grace in the backyard, carefully arranging flowers into a beautiful bouquet. Grace approached with a tender smile, giving Lily the bouquet and planting a loving kiss on her forehead. In her other hand, Grace held an envelope containing her savings, which she insisted Lily take. "For your fresh start," she whispered softly. "Good luck, my dear." Upon reaching the bustling city, Lily settled into a modest room in a humble neighborhood. It was a stark change from her small town, but she was determined to make it her new home. With a mix of excitement and nerves, she sat down at her small desk, opened her laptop, and began crafting her resume. Lily poured her heart into the document, detailing her self-taught programming skills, strong work ethic, and unwavering determination. She felt hopeful, yet also apprehensive about the city's competitive job market as she scrolled through job listings. Lily quickly realized that positions were being filled almost as soon as they were posted, challenging her initial optimism about finding a job in the city. The competitive nature of the job market began to sink in, testing her resilience. One of the most daunting aspects of Lily's journey was her lack of formal higher education. In her small town, her self-taught skills and strong work ethic had sufficed. However, the city's employers were less forgiving. Every company she applied to seemed fixated on the same gap in her resume, her educational background. During interviews, when Lily explained her self-taught path and how she learned programming through free online courses, she often faced skepticism. "We've seen many self-taught candidates," they'd comment dismissively. "They often lack the depth of knowledge we require." These responses were discouraging and eroded her confidence. Despite sending out numerous applications and attending several interviews over a month, Lily consistently received rejections. It appeared that no one was willing to take a chance on a young woman from a small town, new to the city and the industry, without a formal college degree. Just as Lily was on the brink of accepting her circumstances and considering a return to her village, a glimmer of hope emerged. She stumbled upon an advertisement from a company openly seeking beginners for a programming position. Her spirits soared at the opportunity. This could be her breakthrough, she thought. Fueled by a mixture of desperation and hope, she hurried to the company's address, her mind racing with all the arguments she would use to convince them that she was more than just a novice. Arriving at the building, her quick steps slowed as she encountered an elderly security guard in uniform. He regarded her with a blend of sympathy and resignation. As Lily attempted to move past him, he spoke up. "They've already hired someone, kiddo. You're the 7th person to come by. I'm really sorry." Lily paused, confusion and disappointment washing over her. "Excuse me?" she asked, her heart sinking. The guard nodded solemnly. "Yes, for the programming job. They just filled it. I'm sorry." Lily felt her heart sink. She had missed her chance. Disappointment weighed heavily on her as she trudged towards the exit, each step heavier than the last. Just as she was about to leave, the elderly security guard called out to her. "Hey kid, they're looking for a janitor. Would you be interested in that?" She paused, mustering a weary smile. "No, thank you," she replied politely, her voice tinged with resignation. The old man nodded understandingly. "Well, all right then. Good luck to you, kid." Lily took a few steps away, but then something inside her shifted. A slow smile spread across her face. Turning back to the security guard, her smile now radiant with newfound determination, she walked briskly towards him and extended her hand in a firm handshake. "You, sir, are a lifesaver," Lily said warmly, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I'm Lily, by the way." Peter Holland looked at Lily, his expression now softened with understanding. "I'm Peter." "Peter Holland," he replied, intrigued by Lily's sudden change in demeanor. Realizing the opportunity that Peter had unwittingly presented to her, Lily felt a surge of gratitude towards the old security guard. She struck up a conversation, asking if he had mentioned the janitorial position to the other candidates who had applied for the programming job. Peter shook his head regretfully. "Honestly, it didn't occur to me until I saw you," he admitted. Feeling a rush of warmth towards this kind-hearted stranger, Lily hesitated briefly before asking, "Would it be all right if I gave you a hug?" Peter nodded gently, and they shared a brief, heartfelt embrace. Stepping back, Lily's face was now illuminated with hope. She saw the janitorial role not just as a job, but as an opportunity. It could get her inside the company, where she could network, prove herself, and eventually showcase her programming skills. In her mind, it was a strategic move, a chance to enter the world she aspired to be a part of. As Lily contemplated her new path, she couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and uncertainty about what lay ahead. Stepping into this unfamiliar role as a janitor, she wondered about the challenges and opportunities that awaited her. Finley, the owner of the mid-sized firm, personally conducted Lily's interview. Known for his hands-on approach, Finley believed in meeting each employee personally. He was a commanding presence, both in stature and personality, a stout, tall man whose demeanor blended authority with kindness, often likened to a bear, formidable yet approachable. During the interview, Finley asked about Lily's previous experience in similar roles. She answered candidly, explaining that while she lacked direct janitorial experience, her time at the warehouse had acquainted her with physical labor. Finley seemed to appreciate her honesty and the confident manner in which she presented herself. As Lily wrapped up her interview, she briefly considered mentioning her programming skills. However, she hesitated, concerned it might detract from her genuine interest in the janitorial position. Opting against it, she focused on securing the job at hand. When Finley offered her the position, Lily accepted with a sense of relief and gratitude. The past month had been challenging, with her savings dwindling. Now, even though it was a janitorial role, she felt a burden lift off her shoulders. It was a starting point, a foothold in a company where she could potentially pursue her passion for programming in the future. Finley, with his relaxed demeanor, steered the conversation towards more casual topics. He showed genuine interest in Lily's hometown, prompting her to share a brief overview while being cautious about divulging too much personal information. To her surprise, Finley was familiar with the town and even reminisced about fishing there with his son, adding a personal touch to their conversation. Their conversation was interrupted by a knock on the door, drawing Lily's attention to a woman peeking inside. Their eyes met, and Lily immediately felt a twinge of discomfort under the woman's scrutinizing gaze. "Mr. Powell, should I set the meeting with Intera for the 25th? The woman asked in a professional tone. "Yes, that works." "Thank you, Sandra," Finley replied promptly. The woman, whom Lily would later learn was Sandra, Finley's secretary, appeared slightly flustered. "I apologize for interrupting. I didn't realize you were in an interview. She must have walked past my desk when I was away," she explained, her voice tinged with apology. Finley waved it off with a reassuring smile. "No problem, Sandra. This is Lily, our new janitor," he introduced, turning towards Lily warmly. As Lily stepped out of Finley's office, she couldn't shake the feeling that Sandra's reception had been less than welcoming. Sandra's subtle shift in expression, from irritation to a masked disdain upon seeing Lily, didn't go unnoticed. It seemed Sandra had interrupted them under the guise of confirming a meeting date, but Lily sensed it was more out of curiosity upon hearing laughter from Finley's office. Now, guided by Sandra with crossed arms and a raised eyebrow, Lily felt the undercurrent of hostility. "Come with me. I'll show you around," Sandra said with forced politeness, her tone tinged with condescension. Lily followed along, trying to maintain professionalism despite the chilly reception. As Sandra outlined Lily's janitorial duties, her words carried a patronizing edge, underscoring the gap between their roles. Lily listened quietly, nodding when necessary, but couldn't ignore the sting of Sandra's attitude. It was evident Sandra viewed her as an unwelcome addition, an intruder disrupting the office harmony. Despite this, Lily remained resolute in her goals. She reminded herself that this job was a stepping stone, a means to an end. Sandra's behavior wouldn't deter her from her path. Lily swiftly integrated into her role at the office, opting for an efficient and inconspicuous approach. She completed her tasks swiftly and quietly, ensuring minimal disruption to the workplace. After finishing her duties, she retreated to a quiet spot in the hallway to focus on her studies or enjoy a book. Whenever spills or messes occurred, Lily promptly attended to them with precision. Her meticulous work didn't go unnoticed. Colleagues started to comment on the consistently immaculate condition of the office, often wondering how Lily managed it without being seen. There was a growing sense of admiration and curiosity about her methods. Finley, especially, took note of Lily's dedication and quiet demeanor. He observed her sitting absorbed in reading or studying in secluded corners, and each time he passed by, he silently acknowledged her diligence and commitment. Lily's discreet presence and dedication to her job aligned perfectly with what Finley valued in an employee. Sandra really enjoyed making Lily's job hard. She often found small ways to cause problems for her, which added stress to Lily's day. Despite this, Lily tried hard to stay focused and not let Sandra's actions bother her. Near their office, there was a fancy clothing store that always caught Lily's attention. Sometimes she would stop and look at a dress displayed in the window. It was a beautiful navy blue dress with a unique design, short in the front, showing her knees, and long and elegant in the back. Lily couldn't help but daydream about wearing such a dress. She remembered her high school graduation, a time when even a simple dress was a luxury she couldn't afford. Now, standing in front of the window, she allowed herself a moment to imagine how she would look and feel in that dress. She pictured herself walking confidently, with people admiring her. But whenever she checked the price tag, Lily faced a harsh reality. The dress cost as much as what she paid for rent and living expenses in a whole month. This big difference between what she wanted and what she could afford reminded her of the tough challenges she still dealt with. Lost in her thoughts, Lily didn't notice Sandra and some co-workers approaching until it was too late. They seemed to be heading out for lunch when Sandra, always ready to make Lily feel small, saw her chance. Well, 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 look who's dreaming about a versus dress. Keep walking, honey, it's way out of your league, Sandra sneered, her words full of scorn. A few of Sandra's friends awkwardly chuckled, feeling pressured to join in. They knew Sandra had a lot of influence over decisions at work, so they went along with her even though they didn't like her mean attitude, hoping it would protect their own jobs. Sandra's constant teasing was the reason Lily started coming to work early and leaving as soon as she finished her tasks. This new routine gave her more time to chat with Mr. Holland, the security guard. Their morning conversations turned into a real friendship, giving Lily a much-needed break from Sandra's unpleasantness. Mr. Holland wasn't blind to Sandra's behavior. He had noticed how she talked down to others and had warned her to be nicer several times. But he kept her around because, despite her attitude, she was good at her job. Mr. Holland liked employees who got things done well, but he also cared about keeping a happy workplace. He was known for being a thoughtful boss who planned fun activities for the team. With spring coming, he decided to organize a picnic in the woods nearby. He announced it during a morning meeting, and everyone cheered. They were all excited to get to know each other better outside of work. After finishing her cleaning tasks, Lily heard the excited cheers coming from the conference room. She couldn't help but smile at the camaraderie among her coworkers. Assuming she wasn't included in such company events because of her job, she kept working. However, Finley, known for being inclusive, noticed Lily's absence from the meeting. He looked out through the conference room window and saw her silhouette in the hallway. Excusing himself from the lively crowd, he went out to talk to her. "Lily, you're invited too. You're part of our company just like everyone else," he said warmly, with a genuine smile. Lily blushed at Finley's personal invitation. "Really?" "Oh, thank you so much," she replied, surprised and grateful. It meant a great deal to her that Finley valued her as a team member, even though she worked as a janitor. Lily sat quietly in the lunch area, her sandwich half-eaten, lost in her thoughts. Mr. Holland, always observant, noticed her unusual mood. He came over with a concerned expression. "Are you okay, kiddo? You seem a bit down today," he asked gently. Lily managed a small, distracted smile. "Oh, it's nothing major, Mr. Holland. I got invited to a team-building event with everyone from the office," she shared, trying to sound upbeat. "That sounds wonderful. It must feel good to be included," Mr. Holland replied encouragingly. Lily sighed, her voice tinged with reluctance. "I thought so too at first, but Sandra will be there. She always finds a way to make things tough for me. I'm worried she'll spoil the event for me." Mr. Holland nodded in understanding. "Listen, Lily, don't give her so much power over your happiness. Enjoy the event. Walk by the stream, breathe the fresh air, and relax. Be yourself and have a good time. You deserve it just like everyone else." That day, all the colleagues gathered at the office, sharing jokes and laughter, eager to start their journey. Surprisingly, Sandra didn't tease Lily as usual. Instead, she gave her mean looks and whispered to her friends. Despite this, Lily found a peaceful spot on the lawn and enjoyed the sunshine. Soon, Finley's car appeared around the corner. He parked and got out, accompanied not only by himself, but also by a little boy who looked about 3 years old. The sight of the child immediately drew Lily's attention. She watched as Finley left the boy in Sandra's care briefly while he returned to the office. Sandra, engrossed in conversation with her friends, seemed to forget about the child, who wandered towards the lawn. Suddenly, the boy spotted a stray dog searching under a nearby tree. Excited, he shouted "dog" and ran towards it fearlessly. Things quickly spiraled out of control. The dog, startled and growling, lunged at the boy. In an instant, Lily rushed to his side, scooping him up in her arms. The dog, irritated by her intervention, bit Lily's leg fiercely. Despite the pain, she held onto the child tightly. The dog, still aggressive, leaped at Lily in an attempt to knock her down and bite her arm. Amidst the chaos, Lily screamed for the dog to go away. Hearing her cries, men from their office, including Finley, rushed towards them. Seeing the approaching group, the dog decided to retreat hastily, tail tucked, and dashed away, leaving Lily alone with the child. Finley reached Lily and his son Travis, enveloping them in a grateful embrace. "Thank you, Lily. Thank you for saving my boy." "I can't express my gratitude enough," he said, noticing with concern, "You're covered in blood. We need to get you to the hospital right away." Still in shock and not fully aware of her own condition, Lily brushed off his worry. "No, I'm okay. It's just a scratch." "You're bleeding. We have to go," he insisted, realizing the seriousness of her injury. Understanding the gravity of the situation better than Lily, who was still stunned by the events, Finley urged her firmly, "Lily, quickly, get in the car." He abandoned formalities in his urgency. The day, which had started with laughter and excitement, took an unexpected turn. Finley, Travis, and Lily ended up at the hospital. Meanwhile, their colleagues, witnessing the alarming incident, collectively decided to cancel their planned activities. They felt continuing with fun and relaxation would be insensitive in light of what had just happened. Sandra, true to form, tried to downplay Lily's brave actions. She suggested that Lily's injury shouldn't disrupt their plans for fun. This time, however, her comments were met with visible disgust from most of her colleagues. "What, just because she's hurt, we all have to suffer too? It's not like we can do anything for her. That's the doctor's job," Sandra complained bitterly. The group dispersed slowly, many shaking their heads at her lack of empathy. Lily's injuries from the dog attack turned out to be more serious than she initially thought. She needed stitches for the wounds on her arms and legs, along with painful injections. During her hospital stay, Finley and his son Travis visited her regularly, offering their support and companionship. One day, shortly before Lily was set to leave the hospital, Finley arrived with a special gift. He presented her with a beautifully wrapped box bearing the company's logo. "Lily, Travis, and I wanted to give you this small token of our admiration for your bravery," he said warmly. Upon opening the package, Lily was deeply moved to tears. Inside was something unexpected. "What's wrong, Lily?" Finley asked, concerned. "It's just, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just a cleaner, and I don't know where I'd ever wear this," she managed to say through her emotions. Travis, in his innocent way, came over and hugged her, saying, "Don't cry. You can wear it to preschool." His comment brought a chuckle from Lily, lightening the mood. "There you go, you can wear it to preschool." Finley joined in with a laugh. When Lily returned to work, she faced a challenging situation. Sandra had called in sick with the flu, leaving Finley without a secretary on a busy day filled with important meetings. Finley tried to call in another temporary substitute, but they were also unavailable due to illness. The office was buzzing with news of the flu outbreak, leaving several staff members out of commission, including Sandra. Finley, focused on the day's critical negotiations, was considering his options when he saw Lily, vacuum in hand, diligently performing her cleaning duties. "Lily, put that down." "I need your help," he called out urgently. Surprised, Lily stopped and looked at him questioningly. "Do you need me to clean another area?" she asked, ready to assist. "No, I need you to fill in for Sandra during today's negotiations," Finley explained, noticing Lily's startled expression. Lily was taken aback. "But I don't know anything about being a secretary." "Don't worry, it's straightforward. Just assist with the paperwork as needed. It's much simpler than what you're used to," Finley reassured her, sounding confident. He then glanced at her attire. "After a quick briefing, my driver will take you home to change. That blue dress will be perfect for the occasion." Nervously agreeing to help, Lily requested, "Please don't be upset if I make a mistake." After freshening up and fixing her hair, Lily slipped into the blue dress. She approached the mirror and was surprised by her reflection. The transformation was astonishing. She hardly recognized herself. Back at the office, Finley paced nervously, awaiting Lily's return and the arrival of the representatives for the crucial meeting. When Lily entered confidently, announcing her presence, Finley turned and was momentarily speechless. Before him stood not just his diligent janitor, but a poised, elegant woman. As the meeting began, Lily stayed quiet, observing and listening carefully. It was her first time in such a formal setting, but she quickly realized that the discussions were straightforward. As she followed along, Lily found that she understood more than she had expected. As the meeting approached its conclusion, with both parties ready to sign the contract, Lily's sharp eye caught a crucial oversight. Swiftly, she wrote a note and discreetly passed it to Finley. He glanced at it, his expression shifting from surprise to understanding. Lily had spotted an important detail that he had missed. With a grateful nod to her, he smoothly brought up the point with the partners, seamlessly incorporating it into the final discussions. After the meeting, Finley returned to the conference room, visibly impressed. "Lily, that was amazing. How did you catch that?" he asked with admiration. Lily shrugged modestly. "I noticed you hadn't mentioned it, and I thought it was important. I was afraid it might be overlooked in the final moments," she explained, smiling with relief at having been able to help. Finley was grateful and spontaneously invited Lily to dinner as a gesture of thanks. As they left the meeting room, Sandra appeared, visibly out of breath. Seeing Lily in her elegant blue dress looking stunning made Sandra intensely jealous. She was surprised that the meeting had ended and Lily was still there. Feeling upset, Sandra quickly turned and walked away. Lily felt uneasy, sensing tension between Finley and Sandra. During the drive, Lily asked about Travis, showing unexpected thoughtfulness. They decided to pick him up, making the outing more casual and friendly. Dinner at a quiet, cozy restaurant was enjoyable. Finley was curious about Lily's life, and she shared openly about her past, her dreams of bringing her grandmother and sister to the city, and her aspirations. As the evening progressed, Lily revealed that her initial goal wasn't to work as a janitor, but to pursue a career in programming. Finley listened attentively, deeply moved by her determination and resilience. As he drove her home, a peculiar feeling settled in his heart. Her strength, ambition, and kindness, everything about Lily intrigued him in a new way. Could he be developing feelings for her? The thought surprised him, yet it also sparked his curiosity. Lily's days carried on with a newfound respect from her colleagues, earned through her act of bravery and the sharing of her personal story. Despite this, she hesitated to ask Finley for a different role in the company, feeling a bit embarrassed about her true career aspirations being known. One morning, Lily arrived at work to a strange change. Mr. Holland, always present in the office, was nowhere to be found. His absence felt unusual and unsettling. Her unease deepened when she discovered that the combination to her locker had been changed. Perplexed, Lily headed down the hall to seek answers. There, she saw a man she didn't recognize, dressed similarly to her in a janitorial uniform, using her mop to clean the floor. Assuming the company had hired more janitorial staff in preparation for an office expansion, she approached him. "Excuse me, sir, do you know why the locker combinations were changed?" she asked, trying to hide her confusion. The man paused his mopping and looked up, surprised. "Change the lock combinations?" "I have no idea. They just gave me the code for this locker." "And who are you?" he replied, slightly puzzled. Lily, trying to maintain her composure, introduced herself. "I'm Lily, another janitor here. Could you open the locker for me, please?" The new janitor obliged, but when they opened it, the locker was empty. Lily felt a deepening confusion. Her locker had always been a small sanctuary for her personal items during work hours. Its emptiness now felt like an ominous sign, and she couldn't help but wonder what was happening. As the office filled with people, Lily searched for Finley, but he was nowhere to be found. She asked her colleagues, but no one seemed to know where he was. Feeling a bit lost, she decided to head home, planning to return the next day. The following morning, Lily allowed herself a bit more sleep, knowing that the new janitor would cover her duties. However, her rest was interrupted by a knock at the door. Groggy and surprised, she opened it to find Finley standing there, holding a bouquet of wild flowers and wearing a warm smile. "Good morning, sunshine," he greeted cheerfully. Blinking away her sleepiness, Lily managed a smile full of questions. Finley gestured for her to step outside. As she did, the sight before her took her breath away. There was her sister Julia, sitting in her wheelchair, her laughter filling the air. A few feet away, her grandmother Grace was engaged in a lively chat with Mr. Holland, who offered his arm for her to lean on gracefully. Lily was overwhelmed, her heart swelling with emotion. It felt like a dream come true, woven from her deepest desires. "You deserve this, Lily. Your strength and resilience are inspiring," Finley said, his voice filled with admiration. It turned out that Mr. Holland had been a confidant not just to Lily but also to Finley. Like a father figure, Mr. Holland had offered wisdom and guidance to Finley over the years. When Finley had sought Mr. Holland's advice about Lely, the old security guard had smiled knowingly. "The first time I saw Lely, I knew she was meant to play a significant role in your life, Finley," he had said. This revelation explained why Mr. Holland had recommended the janitorial job to Lely. Inspired by Mr. Holland's insights and Lely's story, Finley had made the decision to personally drive to her hometown to bring her grandmother and sister to the city. Tears of joy and disbelief brimmed in Lily's eyes as she embraced her grandmother and Julia. The reunion was filled with laughter, tears, and stories, bridging the distance that had separated them for so long. Finley organized a dinner at a cozy restaurant in the city, ensuring everyone was included in the celebration. On their way, they picked up Travis from preschool. The young boy, full of energy, immediately gravitated towards Lily, choosing to sit on her lap. Lily exchanged a meaningful glance with Finley, their eyes locking in a moment of shared affection and understanding. Lily, having cared for Julia since she was a child herself, naturally had warmth and affection for children. Travis seemed to sense this, comfortably nestling in her embrace, reluctant to leave. As they drove to the restaurant, Lily gazed at her grandmother and Julia, her heart swelling with gratitude. The sudden positive changes in her life and the kindness shown by Finley and Mr. Holland filled her with profound thankfulness. During the meal, as they enjoyed their dishes and moved on to desserts, Finley stood up to make an announcement. He acknowledged Lily's deep desire to be with her family and made a generous offer. "I have a country house about half an hour from the city. It's yours if you want it. Your family can move in," he proposed warmly. Lily was initially overwhelmed by Finley's offer, feeling a mix of gratitude and discomfort at such generosity. But Finley remained insistent, his voice sincere and filled with conviction. "Lily, you've earned this and more. It's not just about saving Travis, it's about who you are. The strength and love you've shown for your family are extraordinary. They deserve to be close to you," he expressed, his eyes reflecting deep respect and admiration. Gratefully, Lily thanked Finley, expressing her intention to pay rent once she started earning a regular salary. However, she soon discovered that Finley had no intention of accepting any rent from her. As time passed, their professional meetings gradually evolved into more personal interactions, blossoming into dates. They found joy in each other's company, often including little Travis in their outings for picnics and outdoor adventures. During these moments, Lily felt a comforting warmth in her heart, experiencing a sense of belonging and happiness that was new to her. One day, while Lily was working at her computer, Finley entered her room with a sense of urgency. "Lily, I'm not usually this forward, but I can't hold back anymore. I love you and I want to be with you," he confessed earnestly. Lily's face lit up with a genuine smile. "I'm not one for grand romantic gestures either." "I love you too, Finley. I want to be with you as well," she responded warmly. Once focused solely on her family's survival, Lily now found herself with everything she had ever dreamed of: a fulfilling job, a loving partner in Finley, and a joyful connection with Travis, who had become like a son to her. In a delightful twist, Mr. Holland, who had been a constant support in Lily's life, found a new chapter in his own story. He retired from his job to spend more time with Grace, Lily's grandmother. Their bond grew strong, rooted in shared interests and companionship. Julia thrived in a school for special needs children, making remarkable progress and finding joy in her new environment. One peaceful evening, as Lily sat on the porch lost in thought, Julia wheeled up to her and embraced her silently. Overwhelmed with emotion, Lily felt tears well up in her eyes. She reflected on her journey filled with trials and triumphs and wondered what her parents would think if they could see her now. She hoped they would be as proud of her as she was of herself and her family.